Well, good evening, everyone. I should say good morning. I should say good morning to all those that are here, or maybe you'll be coming up listening later on tonight. It's kind of unusual that I decided to get on here late tonight and talk about things that I normally wouldn't say. But I have to admit, I had so much fun here today on YouTube, even as I was out in the streets taking care of stuff and listening to other people on YouTube, even joined in on some of the conversations today. Yeah, excuse me. This is an impromptu, I guess, because I was watching a movie. Matter of fact, I just finished it, maybe about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes ago. And I want to say it did bring tears to my eyes. I thought about it as being younger when I first seen it. And throughout the years, how it resonated with me, even looking at it tonight. But first of all, I want to thank all the people that I was on YouTube with today, those that I listened to, and those, like I said, I conversed with them. Reed from this morning, Pizarro, especially Lolo tonight, and also to those that I listen to out of the clouds, like, uh, and I listen to them, Jay Wilson, and Duchess Kelly Love, talking about different things on movies and stuff. But tonight I watched Imitation of Life. Oh, and also, Lady Nika, thank you. Thank you. You and Pizarro had a wonderful conversation about life itself. Imitation of Life. No matter how many times I watch that movie or analyze it or look at it at a different standpoint, it always brings back memories or the way that at the end it was a mother's love, always. Now, for those of you younger generation that never have seen The Imitation of Life, I would recommend that movie to you. Those of us that sit around and talk about colorism and the different races and stuff, I recommend that to you. Because that movie was filmed in a time when things were really hard for us as people, Black people out there. And to have this great woman who portrayed a mother of a child who was, let's face it, we'll talk about it, the truth thing, to say that a lot of people are saying, light, bright, and damn near white, looked like a white girl, which was a white girl in the movie, portrayed as wanting to be different, not because of who she was, but because of the color of her skin, the texture of her hair. And I looked at it when I started it from the beginning. Her and her mom was out on the beach. I'm not going to tell the whole story, but they were homeless, just so like many others are homeless now. People are homeless out there. And her mom was very fortunate enough to be taken in by this white woman who wanted to become an actress that was scuffling herself. And together, they didn't look at who had what or what they had. They pulled together as two women trying to raise their kids, their young daughters, their young siblings. And as the movie progressed, things happened. And although, like I said, those of you who haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to spoil it. But let's just say at the end, the daughter of the Black woman realized that there was nothing finer than a mother's love. I looked at this movie, and the part where I really, really cried, and I'm going to admit it, yeah, I did at the movie because it brought tears to my eyes, was when Miss Mahalia Jackson, another, I wouldn't say she was an actress, but she was a gospel singer, appeared in this movie. Hello, Vibrant Love. Good morning, dear. Yes, Imitation of Life. Yes, the funeral. That's what it was all about. And really, it was her singing that brought me to tears, because I realized that how much I miss my mom right then and there. But like I said, the movie, it has so many emotional things in it going on that I wish the young people of today, those that never ever seen this movie, like I said, would take time out, sit down and watch this movie. Imitation of Life, to me, is what they say. We all imitate things in life that we don't want to be. A classic story, yes. Fabulous. A classic, an all-time classic, Vibrant Love. And I mean, you know, as I sit here thinking about things, my past years, even my past few years here on YouTube, the way young people are changing their ideas and their thoughts, I just hope, I just hope that we don't go too far back to where we forget where we all came from. Hello, Queen Tulsa. Glad to see you. How you doing, Queen Tulsa? Thank you very much for being here. But like I was saying before, I people think that as we get old, we just have to sit around and do nothing. But I do. I reflect on things. I reflect on how our people here on YouTube talk to each other, how we listen to each other, and then sometimes how we bring together things that, as an older person myself, sometimes I say that there's still hope for us, even being between the old and the new. Okay. The old ways, yeah, they might be gone, but when I heard people talking about planting gardens and doing things for one another, that kind of gave me hope because I remember all that. I remember all that, people helping one another. It didn't matter what neighborhood you came from or where you were raised. If you were in that unit, and we called it a unit, that's why they came up with a G unit. Never mind, that's another subject. But people came together back then. Really, they did. In the 60s, and shout out to Room Shaker because she's the one that got the conversation started over at Pizzas about how she felt about things. I don't like being controversial with people because they always think there'll be an argument ensuing. But I do want to say to Room Shaker, thank you, dear, for being so thoughtful. And, thoughtful in a way that you forget how people did sacrifice their lives. It's always been a thing with history, especially when it comes to great Black people like Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers. There's always somebody out there that's trying to whitewash over their story or put something out there that makes us say he's no good. I even looked at that Michael Jackson thing, and I don't even want to talk about that right now. I'm going to stick about what I felt tonight. And when I seen this movie, it culminated some things that some people were saying on YouTube. They've always tried to whitewash our history. Even if somebody tries to explain it, they may get it wrong. Take it by advice. Okay, Queen Tulsa. I don't know. I hope it was good advice I gave you, but I got to get back to your platform too. I haven't been up there in a while. But what I was saying is when it comes to telling things or explaining how life was back when I was a child, is way different from, say, somebody that's even 40 years old. You know what I'm saying? Or 30 or 50, even 50 sometimes. Because the 60s were a harsh time in history. Hell, even before I was born, in the 50s, times were hard then. From 50 all the way up until I became old enough to realize that, hey, it's never been good for Black people. Good evening, Patty Mom. How are you doing, dear? Glad to see you. We have now a pretty good idea of what life was about back then through our movies and some of our history books, but not all of our history is told properly It's not told right. And I do want to tell those people out there that holler about, well, it didn't happen to me, so I'm not worried about it, especially our Black people. It may not have happened to you, but it did happen to your ancestors, even mine. You know what I'm saying? My dad was not considered in the early part of his life as a Negro. He was a Jamaican. Why? I don't know, because my dad was born in what, when I say 1905, and that's way before all this other stuff came about. Those years of him growing up and me listening to him, how he was raised as a child in foster care, because even back then, foster care was not as good or prevalent as it is now. There were things done to children back then, just like they are now, when my dad was around during the 1900s. I think about how we are on YouTube today. And like I said, I've had a lot of fun on YouTube today. I laughed, especially over at Lolo's chat today. I laughed because I'm not going to say it was ignorance, but it was the trolling aspects of it that really made it funny. Funny to me as a man. And I kind of enjoy the women in the chat nailing this young man to the cross. Even though he was saying some silly stuff, it was still good, people. It was still great. You know, I also enjoyed Reed early this morning. Reed, I heard you early this morning, and yeah, I try to stay out of the women's arguments, but the things that you said about your child, the story times that you tell, and to me, you tell story times about raising Makai and all this, and I'm proud of you for that. As a woman, I'm proud of you for that. I also want to give shout out to all the women on here that have children, raising children, those that are healthy and those that are not healthy. You're doing the best you can, and I know that. Because like I said, the old versus the new, there's a big difference. With the newness today, people aren't as loving as they were. I'll say that when I was growing up. Oh, you're welcome, Queen Tulsa. I don't know why or what happened. Maybe it was the drug scene. Maybe it was the music. We can blame a lot of things on everything. But when like I said, listening to Peach and them talking about Tulsa, Oklahoma, I was proud of her saying that. I was proud of her mentioning things that some people don't even want to talk about in history. I was proud that the way things were brought about, and let me say this, a lot of Black people moved up north, let's say Chicago, New York. Those were the main places, unless some of them went out west to Texas or California, because the South was bitter, really bitter back then. It was so bitter until the real families were afraid for their families and they moved to where they thought was safe. But like they said, there's always hatred and racism in this. There's always been that in this country. And they even had it in Chicago. They had it in Tulsa, Oklahoma, like they mentioned, in Florida, out in California. But a lot of people that left the South moved because they thought things were better. And for some, it was. For others, through missing home life and lack of being home at their true places where they were born at, some of us couldn't make it. That's why I guess some of us became gangsters, mobsters. Oh yeah, we had them now. We had those guys out there like Bumpy Johnson. Okay, everybody knows about Bumpy Johnson. And some of us older black people looked at those things and we kind of listened to them. When I was coming up, Malcolm X was the most listened to guy on there with Elijah Muhammad and the Islam Nation. You know, they were on radio and TV, but that's a whole different ball game. We had the things like the Black Panther Party. Everybody that really knows about the Black Panther Party, they had great ideas, but there were people, even in their own group and society, that didn't want them to succeed. So they fought amongst each other, turned against each other, and sold their own out for the love of money. And that's another thing I looked at. In that movie, Imitation of Life, it wasn't really about money. It was selling yourself out for love. A child that grew up not knowing how much her mother loved her, except she was worried about what the world thought of her, her skin tone, how she looked, how she was portrayed out there in the world. And come to find out, once they found out who she really was and where she came from, they ostracized her. There have been a lot of people that have been ostracized for less than that. We talk about children out here with handicaps. We talk about grown people that by no fault of their own have lost their homes and are wandering the streets. We talk about things that we should be ashamed of to talk about. But because that's a normal routine, now, especially with, like they say on this internet, with the gangster people typing stuff, saying stuff, it still shows that we have a lot of hatred and prejudice going around, even amongst our own people. It didn't matter to me after I found out about Jesse Jackson and his secret love life and all that. What mattered to me, he was a man that stood up as an individual to try to get out there with people to show them. He founded, and you think about it, Happy Pride Day to all you people out there, the Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition. That included everybody, black, white, even gays, straight, lesbian people, all the people. When that rainbow is a combination of colors. But I kind of look at it as it's still separate. We're separate, but not equal. I just sit back sometimes, and like I say, I'm at the age now to where I made it over 3/4 of a century. And I'm thankful for it, but I'm also ashamed. I'm ashamed of what I have done in life far as not helping enough people. But I do feel good about helping those that I did help. I'm ashamed that I didn't further my education, because who knows where I would have went or might have been. But I still don't lack the judgment into trying to discover and become things. Hello, Candy Kane. Good evening, dear. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And you were up there with Lolo tonight, and I just want to say it was fun. It was fun. Like you said, we want to come on here and laugh and sometimes and talk without all the drama. And that's another thing. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for Lemon and Pizarro, and especially Pizarro, because you came up with the idea, dear. And trust me, they have been talking. People have been talking about this new sector. I'm not going to say new sector, but a new idea of people coming together and trying to do things on here without really tearing up families, tearing up people's lives, especially the no doxing part. Yeah, it was fun. It was so much fun. I had to laugh at that young man because one thing I know for certain, two things for sure, he's not real about what he's talking about. Like I said, trolling is fun, but tonight his trolling got him in a lot of trouble, especially with the young ladies and the women in the chat. But I'm hoping that, like I said, the success that they have, maybe it's going to try to be a new era. Doxing is against the law, people. I've been to my attorneys and all that stuff talking about this stuff, and it is against the law, and we can be prosecuted for it. And also, you can lose your YouTube channel for even mentioning that you're going to dox somebody or say something to somebody. They haven't yet figured out that you speak on here, sometimes you're breaking the laws by using those simple words and saying those simple things. Hello, Just Krista. How have you been, sweetheart? How have you been? Been missing you. And you're my controversial baby on there too. I gotta tap you on your shoulders every once in a while. And yes, nope, I'm not going to give out my phone number. So there. See what I'm saying, folks? I like I said, I was watching Imitation of Life, and it kind of made me sad, but it also made me feel glad that I'm still able to be here and watch those kind of things. I watch our people talk about history when other people don't want to talk about it. I also enjoy the conversations when people aren't yelling and screaming at one another sometimes. And like I said, I hope everybody, I'm always going to support you, dear. I support everybody, really. But the people that really make me feel good and the things that they say sometimes and do on here, I'm always going to support them. I can say I support Sir King, even though I don't be up on his platform or typing in his chat. I still listen to him. You see what I'm saying? So I give a lot of people support. I got a few new people in the section to where I subscribe to their channels because I believe that supporting one another, even if we don't listen to everybody all the time, that shows that, hey, we're interested. But as I was saying, yeah, I've gotten older, but I've also gotten more refined, as they say, or try to be mellow back and look at everybody's how they're opinionated and the things that they do. But life has taught me, as the world goes, so do we. And I'm not going to be up here long. I just had a feeling that if I come in and talk tonight, there will be a few that'll listen. There'll be a few that might make comments on it tomorrow. And for all those that I hadn't mentioned, trust me, people out there, no matter who you are, even Kay Fit with her commentary, I listen to her. I watch everything, like I said, that's important to me and to my heart. And sometimes I get into it about that, but it doesn't matter. Because like I'm going to tell everybody, you're still free to listen. You're still free to go on these YouTube streets where you want to go. No matter what sector or what section, as you want to call it, sector as we call it, we're all free to go somewhere. And I know for myself, going to places, even where I'm not welcome, I can still listen and feel what they're talking about. And I also want to thank Charlie Sending Love, because without her, she introduced me to some friends on YouTube. And I'll say it, white friends. We go get together and play poker. Sometimes I go up there. I haven't met anybody yet that came up and said something outrageous to me or anything, but I would be naive to think that it won't happen. Because let's face it, in life, we've all had those moments where somebody says something to us that we didn't like, or they done something to us that we don't like. And when I mean done something to us, I mean the things like we hear in the news, the tragedies of people doing things, gunning down one another, or being falsely accused about things in life. I've experienced it, but I'm not letting it make me bitter, because let's face it, the world is controlled by the devil. The world is the devil's domain. We do have angels down here that watch over us and guide over us, which brings me to Dr. Creole. Thank you, dear. I listened to you this morning, and like I said, you did a wonderful thing talking to the women and upholding the Black woman, saying that no matter what their skin tone was, from the lightest of hues to the darkest of dark, they're all beautiful queens. And for a lady like you, I admire, and I thank you for that. I'm up late tonight, I guess, because, like I said, I couldn't sleep, and I do have a little insomnia, so I was watching that movie, and I just decided to make myself known, although I'm already known. But one thing for certain, and two things for sure, I can't forget the guys on here either. Uncle Claude, wherever you are, if you hear this, thank you. Thank you, James. They call you mother, but I've been calling you James from the conception, and you'll always be James to me, even though you're everybody's mother. Duchess Kelly Love, once again, I say thank you. The KRN, a young man who I started watching, and yeah, they all get in the beefs. Y'all all get in the beefs. KRN, when your news was up there, I watched it, and I'm proud of you as a young Black man, young gay Black man. Let's call it like it is, about the things that you're doing and the way you're going about your life. To James, once again, thank you. I met James, and I'm going to tell you how I met James. Being on YouTube, going through YouTube, I seen him when he was posting himself in that hospital taking his chemo. And I wanted to say he set me back a little bit, because he reminded me so much of other people that I've seen on chemo. But he survived. He's living. He has a lot of stories to tell. And he's also living his life to the fullest. I thank him for that. For all those that are on YouTube always complaining and griping and crying about things, I thank you too, because this is a soap opera to me. You know, as the world turns, all my children search for tomorrow, days of our lives. YouTube has become a soap opera on the internet. And far as it goes about begging on these streets, that's up to the individual. I'm not going to judge them, because I don't know what kind of shape anybody's in on here. But I can tell you one thing for certain and two things for sure. I've learned how to forgive. I learned how to look at things differently in life. I've learned that everybody's not equal. We're not all born with silver spoons in our mouth. We all don't have the best of educations. We all don't have money. And we know that's what makes the world go around. But I do want to tell you guys, I am rich in life. I'm not as rich as I want to be, but I do appreciate the finer things. I can get out there and go to the park and admire families, young families playing with their children, because that's what my parents did with me when I was younger. There's still hope out there. I still admire for people coming together and trying to fight for a cause is good, because without having a cause, you're gonna be stagnant. And like I said last night, I listened to, once again, what brought it to mind was Room Shaker. Room Shaker, dear, I don't agree with everything you said, but you have a right to say that. You have a right to way to feel that you do. But I pray to God that you will always prosper. You will always speak your mind, even if it is controversial. Because we have had people in our walk of history and life that have spoken controversial. I remember actors back in the day like Sammy Davis Jr., Harry Belafonte, Sidney Poitier, Oscar, Ruby D and Oscar, and Ruby D and her husband, Oscar Davis. I remember Julia, the young lady that played Julia. Those were breaking into show business. Bill Cosby and I Spy. All those, yes, were groundbreaking ceremonies when it comes to movies. But now we're learning how some of our actors and actresses, black ones, had to sell their soul out in order to get their parts. I think about going way back when Amos and Andy was on. A lot of kids never heard of the show or even never seen the show Amos and Andy. I would wonder what they would think about it today, looking at it, if they were able to see this in the entirety. How would they think? Or what would they think about it? I look at black films, as we call them, exploitation films. Superfly. The Mac. Those movies portrayed us in a different light, in a different lifestyle. They didn't portray us as human beings sometimes. They didn't, Black Boy Jungle with Sidney Poitier, To Serve with Love with Sidney Poitier, Two Mules for Sister Sarah. Classic movies. I agree upon that. They were classic movies. But at what price? What price did our people have to suffer for making those movies? Gone with the Wind with Hattie McDaniels, first black woman to ever win an Oscar for a portrayal in a movie about slavery, which we didn't see. It was just about a white man and a white woman being divided by war. I love being the age I am now, because also there are a lot of people that didn't even make it through their 30th birthday, their 50th birthday, their 60th birthday. They didn't get to see the wonders and the love, how things have really changed in this world. Speaking on love, there's nothing wrong with that. Telling someone that you love them. You don't have to love them as a physical sense, as when we think about love, making love and all that. You can have that love in your heart for a person, even if you never, ever, ever met them. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. I guess I'm getting tired of arguing with folks. I'll make a point and I'll leave it at that. But I'm not going to go down that road with you. I'm not going to travel that road with you. I'm going to break off because there are crossroads in our lives. And sometimes we have to make the right turn or the left turn. When I think about making a left turn, I think about the movie Left Behind. That's another great movie, a spiritual movie. When I think about making a right turn, I think about the right hand of God. I also think about things that I was used to sing as a child growing up. Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world, be it yellow, black, or white, they are precious in his sight. And I'm hoping and wishing that people would realize this. But like I said, the world belongs to the devil, and there are some evil people in this world. So with your children, love and protect them. Watch where they go, watch what they do, watch what they listen to. Even here, even now in this day and age, even the youngest child has a cell phone. Don't be afraid as a parent to check it out. And don't be afraid to ask your child questions. Because I've seen throughout the years, a lot of people had a wish that their mom and dad paid more attention to them, that they would be able to talk to their parents. And just like parents of today, they're no different from yesteryear. There were some good ones and there are some bad ones. But in the world, we have to learn to be tolerant. And when I mean tolerant, being able to listen to somebody and just give your opinion. And if they accept it, they accept it. If not, walk away. To a young lady out there, Your Pleasure 721, I just want to say to you, thank you for all the inspirational things that you post on YouTube. I really admire and appreciate those. And I try to take them to heart. And you guys, if you're not subscribed to her, please subscribe to her. Inspirational quotes that she puts up, they're great. Like I said, once again, Dr. Creole Butterfly, listen to you. I know I'm forgetting some people that want to be mentioned, but to all of you, trust me. If you see me in your chat, if I said hello to you, you know I'm subscribed to you. I appreciate the content that you put out here. Even the lemon with his silliness is content. And like I said, to me, it's television. To Jess Krista, once again, dear, roses out to you. To a young lady I haven't seen in a while, but I still haven't seen her on here in a while, but I still listen to her, see her posts. I understand about your loss, dear, and I want to say my heart goes out to you. Boss Lady of New Jersey, thank you. Because you bring me fond memories also. You, Jess Krista, our girl, which we both miss so much. Like I said, there's so many people running through my head right now. I can't even bring the right ones up at the time when I need to say them. But you know who I'm talking about. To all those that have been subscribed to my channel, old or new, when I mean new, brand new, I'm an old man. I'm going to have old man ideas. And the old idea is that we will always come together as one people one of these days. As the old spiritual used to say, we shall overcome. We've overcame, but not as far as we need to overcome. I told the story about being at 5 years old. My mother took me to Emmett Till's funeral. It was traumatizing for a minute, but as I got older, I understand the hatred that people can have for one another in the world. They can do some awful things, and they're doing them now. But then I also think about keep hope alive. Because once you lose all your hope and everything is gone, it might as well throw dirt over me if I get to be that way. But I'm not going to think about not keeping hope alive. I want to have fun, people on YouTube. I want to be the kind of guy on YouTube that can come to you and tell you a story and you'll listen. And I also want to get with you guys to listen to your stories. And we can compare notes then and now. Hell, I remember back in the day, 8 tracks, vinyl records, walkie-talkies even. Those big ass boom boxes we used to carry on our shoulder. I remember all those things. But I also remember being in a family that had love and joy, sitting down at the dinner table, eating together. And the conversation came up earlier about men eating first or children eating first and all this stuff. Like I said, it was a tradition in our family with my dad and mom. The kids ate first, no matter if they were at a picnic or if they were at home or they had parties or anything. The children would eat first. That includes the kids that came over to visit. We had an area to sit in. We had our little, picnic tables, all the kids sat at. And yeah, Dad made sure that the kids ate first. Then he made sure that the wife, men, sometimes we would tell the men to fix their own damn plates, but that's something else. But really, it's your kids with men, you guys. It should be the kids first. That wife, we're talking about eating now. The kids first, the wife, and then yourself. When it comes to taking care of home, it's that woman first and your children above all, together as a unit. I'm just happy that I had a few people up here tonight that came down and said hello, and I thank you so very much. Miss Candy Kane, Vibrant Lord with that smile turned upside down. One of the busiest ladies on YouTube. I tell you. Just Krista. And also the Queen Tulsa. Queen Tulsa, you are controversial to me, okay? That's all I'm going to say. But you do have a good heart. If you're still listening, you have a good heart. Sometimes it gets out of place, but I respect you as a human being. And I want to say I respect all people as human beings. Even though we have different ideas, thinking about things and the way we do things, we're still human. And we're going to make the mistakes. And I want to send out a big shout out to all those that apologize and really mean it. Don't apologize just to make yourself look good. But from within the depths of your soul and your heart, you say that apology. And you try to stick with that apology. I know it's hard, but there's always prayer. And let's pray that we'll all come together one day as not divided into sectors or sections or whatever, but as one people, one nation under God, which I'm not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm just saying the words that mean something to me. One nation under God, because we're all under God. They should change that to one world under God. And maybe we will have the liberty and the justice for all, no matter what. Once again, happy Pride Month to all out there. I will hope to get out to the park and show you the festivities of Pride Week here in the city. I'm trying to make sure I get the dates right so I can be there and get my schedule cleared, so I'll be able to bring you some of the footage and record from it live and send it streaming to you guys live. To all the community, the LBGQIA, or whatever you want to say, I'll just call you the Rainbow Coalition, as Jesse Jackson would say. Thank you also. Thank you for teaching me to be tolerable about other people's feelings. Thank you for showing that you have pride in yourself also. Like I said, there's a lot of people that I know I may have missed, or, oh, he didn't mention this and that. I'm sorry. Because all you got to do is go to my wall and you see how many people are assigned to you and what they do, or who's who on you, who watches you and everything. To all you guys out there, I thank you. I thank you for supporting me, listening to me sometimes when you feel like it. I really do appreciate it. And no, I'm not an old, lonely man. I know it's not my final speech or words. And hopefully I'll be doing this when I'm well past 80 years old. I may not be able to move as fast, but I'm still going to enjoy life. And I just say tonight, early this morning, thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. And I love you as Jesus loves us. Well, I guess I'm going to get off of here. And I may not go to sleep. I may watch another movie. I just might do that. I might watch another movie. So, yeah. With that being said, love you as Jesus loves us. See you guys later.